So it's a grey day, and not really an ideal day for painting, but we'd arranged to, Mac and myself, we'd arranged to meet up, showing Mac Gregory's studio, and because it's a grey day, we were talking about how the light affects colour, and how people's perception of colour varies in all sorts of situations. So how do you see light and colour? I mean, how do you decide I'm not going to today, or?
Well, the point is I prefer painting in daylight, but also you need a constant light, so it's ideal if you've got a north light. You don't want sunshine all over the place because that changes radically, but the light does change perceptibly roughly every 20 minutes. You can see a perceptible change, and if you look at a shadow, for example, over a space of an hour, it will change, alter radically because of the direction of the sun.
Yes.
But I prefer daylight because I can work better with the colours in daylight, although at night obviously you're affected, or you can get daylight bulbs, but it isn't quite the same as daylight. But I suppose arguably you could say if I worked at night under daylight conditions, electric daylight as it were, you would get a constant light which doesn't vary, but then I feel, but I'm not speaking for everybody else, but I feel then that you would have to view those paintings under those sort of lighting conditions. Right,
so that would be to get the feeling in the painting that you started off with. But somebody who wasn't aware of that would see the painting, or may perceive the painting in a different way.
And could be psychologically different. It's a very difficult thing really. I make up my own colours, I mix my own colours. I can't possibly always put a name to them, but I know the colours that I want. And but you will find that colour does change. For example, I think we ought to really set up an experiment at a future date and show this. But if, for example, if I had these two pieces of colour, which are red, and I could change their whole perception. Now if I put that on a white background, immediately that red looks much darker. If I put that red on this background, it has a different value again.
Now you see, to me, the one on the, is it green or is it yellow?
This one green.
Yeah, right, because it looks yellow to me. That is darker than the other one. But that's because I'm colourblind.
Yeah, but I mean, if let's say I put these two colours in, which are the same size and same shape, this colour here, they look totally different. One looks light and one looks darker by contrast.
Yeah, is that, are the small cards green?
This one is red.
No, but the one in front of it.
This one, oh you mean this colour here?
Yes. Is that green?
It's a brown, but I mean, you see, but the point is, it's a browny green.
Right.
And this is the trouble. I mean, I find it very difficult to give specific names unless it's a very obvious colour. I mean, all colours vary.
Yes.
And if you have a colour wheel, I should actually get a colour wheel. But if you do op art, this is, you know, Bridget Riley is a very famous op artist, and she often deals with complementary colours. And if you say, for example, if I do this, having nothing to hand as usual,
it's the best way, Mac.
Now this is very, very basic.
Are we going to be working on the desk, or are you?
No, I'm just going to do something which even little children know. If I draw this circle, not very well. The three primary colours are red. I'll put an R here, yellow and blue. For the sake of argument, those are the three colours from which everything starts. I'm not talking about tones, I'm just talking about colour. So the opposite of yellow is a mixture of red and blue, which makes violet. the opposite of blue is a mixture of yellow and red, which makes orange. So the complementary of blue is orange, the complementary of yellow is violet, and the complementary of red, yellow and blue is green. So if you put red against green, you'll get an optical movement.
Okay.
If you put yellow against purple or violet, you'll get an optical movement. So op art is based on the playing about with complementary colours or black and white shapes moved to create wavy lines to create an optical.
So are you saying op art is really
It's really
making a very distinct difference between one colour and the next?
Yeah, or black and white or whatever.
Yes.
So you'll get a visual movement, and if we do this again, we'll get some actual examples of op art.
Yeah.
And technically from red, yellow and blue you can make 72 different colours. And if you add black and white, which aren't really colours, black is a total absence of light, white is full light.
Full light.
But you can then get 1800 variations, so you started getting tones and colour. Colour is different from tone. Tone is the intensity of light upon the surface of an object, but colour is the local. I mean, if the local colour of this is that sort of orangey red, that is, if you look at a pillar box, it's red, that's the local colour, it's local colour. But as it moves away from the distance, it takes on an atmospheric colour. So if you really put it right into the very distance, it take on a bluey colour. It's because it's moving away, that is called
redshift.
aerial perspective.
Aerial perspective.
Yeah. You get linear perspective, where parallel lines appear to meet at infinity.
Yes.
Aerial perspective is the colour where it takes on the atmospheric colour, so it goes blue or grey. Right into that horizon is always a blue colour, isn't it? Bluey grey.
Yes.
It loses its local colour, it takes on this atmospheric colour. So your local colour, I mean, if you say blue, green and grey, those local colours would diminish and take on an atmospheric, so that is your aerial perspective.
So you disappear.
Eventually.
Yes.
You become sort of innocuous.
I'll take that as a compliment. I mean, that's interesting because in the study of the stars, they use this change of colour to determine whether a star is moving away rapidly, because there's this thing called redshift.
That's right.
Yes, where the spectrum changes with the speed of the thing that's happening. But that's totally different from what you're talking about, isn't it? Yeah. So colour, I mean,
if I mix red, yellow and blue, because if you spin a disc which is red, yellow and blue, it appears white, because the colour waves all change and you get white light. Like a rainbow is where it's the colours of the spectrum, isn't it?
Yes.
Where white light has been split into its constituents colours.
So if you spin that disc fast enough,
it'd appear white. But even if I used the purest of paints and mixed red, yellow and blue, the best I would get a grey. I wouldn't get white. So pigments are different from light. I mean, the primary colours in pigments are red, yellow and blue, but in light they're different. They're not red, yellow and blue in light. I forget what they are now. I'd have to think about. I did know, but I forgot. But
that's interesting. Because sometimes I do a video, and then I start it off with going, this is a video about something that I know now that in 5 years' time will have forgotten. I can come back and look at it.
That's right.
So it's knowledge is not about having it all in your head. It's about knowing where to go and find it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's right. I mean, this is the trouble with education. I think they don't teach people where to look to find. I mean, you can just go Google, can't you?
That's
and
right.
It all pops up.
Yeah.
But
until it doesn't.
I mean, they found that kids that actually read books perform better in examinations than people who just rely on the computer all the time for instant knowledge.
Well, if you think about it, if the vast majority of the population never read a book and only used a smartphone to get all of their information, how easy is it to then change the perspective or the perception of virtually everybody? You know, over a year or two you could actually change it so that people believed blue is yellow. Huh?
Oh yes.
Right? Because if they all go to this and they're taking in so much information that as soon as that information is used, it's effectively forgotten, you can change the whole...
Oh, yeah, brainwash.
You can brainwash people
it's like
easily.
And subliminal advertising.
Yes. And who's to know that this isn't happening already?
It is. It is happening. Because you control people by... well, ignorance is one way of controlling people, and also fear.
There's also... It's just like... The world is so wondrous, one asks why a very relatively narrow section of society are just hell-bent on destroying it for short-term gains.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, I mean it's just like there seems to be no moral compass anymore. I'm going to earn millions of pounds and I don't really care what happens because the knock-on effects of it will only come about when I'm dead.
That's right. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And so.
And I think this is the problem with our political system. They only work in 5-year shifts, don't they? Because they think, oh, probably be voted out next time. So make money while they shine. So there is no long-term project really at all.
There isn't. It's a vote me rich, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just things like non-executive directorships. Yeah. We'll give you 30 grand a year. You don't actually need to do anything, but because you're an MP,
Yes.
I mean, lots of these people think that 30 grand is not very much money, but actually, if you have a how can I put this? If you have a philosophy where living the life is not about what you own and what you consume, 30 grand is just a phenomenal amount of money. Yeah, other people would just fritter it away in months or weeks. I don't know. Their perspectives is just totally weird. But it's all about, you know, there's too many people on this planet, and we're destroying it just in search of all these resources so that you can buy the next bit of marketed stuff to make you feel better for about 5 minutes.
That's right, it's only transitory.
Life is transitory, but smartphones are even more transitory.
They are, yeah. I mean, it's all based on want rather than need. If somebody says, oh, I really need that, but they don't. And what they need is not necessarily what they want.
Yeah, it is that moment of quiet. And there was some guy on, I can't remember now, some video channel where he was talking about a film moment where you're just doing something and everything is just right, and you just notice and just stand there for 3 or 4 minutes and absorb the perfectness of your surroundings. And it's just that cubic centimetre of chance. You're there at the right time and you just go, this is... You almost have a meditative sort of viewpoint on it.
Yes,
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much, Mac. It's been a wonderful chat.
Right.
Cheers now.
Thank you. We'll try and do something a bit more demonstrative next time with colour.
I didn't know you were a demon.